Hi, my name is Dwight Gillespie, and this is the Change Your Life channel. And here we try to give you some practical advice, not even advice, suggestions maybe. Let's call them suggestions. Advice is kind of... Anyway, if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the notification bell, comment, share it, do all that good stuff, right? Today we're going to do some stuff on fat phobia, and we chose, this is a compilation, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen the whole thing through. And we're going to take a look at these. And I want to say off the bat, right, because you know that I've spoken about this, fat phobia. For those of you who are just tuning in, I've lost a lot of weight. I was nearly 300 pounds. I'm about 180 pounds as of today. And I've done this through I don't call it diet, through a change of life. I changed the way that I live in order to maintain a lifestyle that I want to lead. And so I talk a lot about fat phobia, and not because I think that fat is bad, or that I think these people are bad, or that I think they're ugly or anything. I don't think anybody should ever be judged on the way that they look. I don't believe in that. But I do believe that people justify what they do. And we're going to talk about this, right? Because I see these people and they want to justify this so that they can continue with this. Because my whole thing about fat and all that stuff is that there's an addiction to food. And there's a great book right here, right? Walter told me, just point and I'll put it there, called Bright Line Eating. And in Bright Line Eating, I learned that this isn't about dieting, right? This is about finding your proper body size. That I don't have a number in mind, but my body's going to know when it's the right size if I eat properly, right? And it also talked about the addiction to food. And I know from my own self, I think that one of the problems that we have with food addiction is, number one, it's one of the biggest problems we have in this country is obesity, right? It's a problem. Anorexia. Like there are a lot of, because, I did see the very beginning of this, but the whole thing is that people want to justify this addiction. And it's an addiction that starts, it's funny because food is very unique. It's an addiction that starts for us usually when we're little kids. Our parents begin to pacify us with food. And that's why we look at food so much differently than we look at alcohol or heroin or cocaine or any of these other things that we might become addicted to. We look at them differently because we get into them at a much earlier age, and it's given to us mostly by our parents, right? And it became our pacifier at such a young age, and we justify it by saying, well, you have to eat, right? You don't have to shoot heroin, but you have to eat. And so that becomes the motivator there to say that, that's what makes this okay. And we want to be okay with it because we don't want to go through it. So let's take a look at some of these. We don't have to look at the whole video, but I want to look at some of these and comment on them and talk about this. And I want you to know that while I may say some things, I have a lot of compassion for these people because I know exactly how it feels to feel that you can do nothing about this. So you fall into acceptance, right? You lean into it really because you don't know how to fix it. And therefore you have to make it okay in your mind. So let's go take a look at this, okay?
We can all agree on this, yes?
Right. Thin does not equal healthy. Right. I agree with that. You can be anorexic. However, all right?
So how can we not agree on this?
It's easy to, because fat does not equal healthy, right? Fat equals unhealthy, it always. And at her age, maybe it's a difference, right? And I say this all the time. People who tell me that they can be healthy at any size, number one, that's bullshit. Watch my 600-pound life and tell me that those people are healthy. Tell me that they're living a good life. And can we agree on this? Is there a cutoff to it being unhealthy? There has to be, right? Because you can't look at somebody who's 31 years old and 900 pounds who has oxygen, who can't stand, who can't walk, and tell me that they're healthy. So therefore, there is a cutoff to that. And you can't say that there isn't. There is a cutoff. So yes, fat equals unhealthy, and maybe not so much at this age, but you put 10 or 15 years on this woman and tell me the same thing at that same size. Now you're talking about heart disease. You're talking about diabetes. You're talking about rheumatoid arthritis. You're talking about knee and joint damage. You're talking about all these things. And again, I haven't seen this all the way through, but if I watch this compilation, I guarantee there's nobody in here my age who's 400 pounds and talking about I'm healthy at any size. Okay? I guarantee it. Because when you get to be my age, I'm 60 years old, just turned 60. And there's no way when you get into and I say in your 40s, is when I really started feeling the weight, okay? And that's when, and you can talk all this crap, and if you look, right, you can go ahead and you can Google plus size models who've died, right? And they die young. Didn't we do a video about that? I think. Anyway, there was a couple of them, and we can Google it later. But there are a bunch of plus size men. You look at some. Oh, you know what? Some of the comedians I did. That was it for the book I'm writing. I'm writing a book about the transformation that we made. Right. John Candy, John Panette, Big Pun. Who was the other guy? The other big rapper, Fat Joe, I think his name was. Right. All of these people who died at very young ages.
Well, Fat Joe's still alive. Fat Joe lost a lot of weight, actually.
Who's the one?
He's more like Slim
Big
Joe.
Pun, and there was another one too. I can't remember his name. It's a whole list of them. You can go down the list and see all these overweight people who died from heart disease and things like this. And it's just, look, it takes a toll. It takes a toll on you. And Mama Cass was another one. She died very young. I had a whole list, and it's in my book, which hopefully will be out at the end of the year. But we'll get.
You brought up another plus size model in one of the other Change Your Life podcasts.
Yeah,
I forget her name though.
So it at a certain age, this does become a problem, and fat does equal unhealthy. I don't care what anybody says, and maybe not at 25 or 30. And how fat are we talking? How fat? All right. You say fat. Well, what's fat, right? You're overweight at a certain BMI, right? So what do you consider fat? Now, let me ask you, if you put 100 pounds on this woman, do you think she'd be unhealthy then? I do. I think she's unhealthy now. She can't possibly call herself healthy and have all that excess weight. It's not, oh, I'm fine. No. Again, you have to add time to it and keep that weight on, At some point, you have to say this is a problem.
Oh, well, it was nice while it lasted, right?
The whole thing was horrible.
What was?
Oh, because
what?
She was saying that in high school, everybody's like, oh, I miss being in high school, except for her because she was the fat friend.
Oh. Well, there you go.
That cafeteria food is good.
Angel. Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Oh, that's a nice one. You want it? Yeah. I want to go with Will Smith here.
And Will Smith is in shape.
Yeah.
Follow that bikini like a G-string. She's 200 pounds.
This may be an unpopular opinion, but I really hate curvy wife dudes. Like their whole motto is, whoa, I bang a fat girl forever. Right. Stop using your fat wife for clout.
Stop using your fat wife. I don't. Do people really do that? Do people do that?
I'd never seen that.
Use your fat wife for clout. I don't know. I've heard people like supermodels and stuff like that. You have a trophy wife on your arm. I never.
Is that like when Brian Griffin was going with the cancer girl? And he was in hopes that she was going to die in 2 weeks so that way he could bang all the sympathy. The sympathy chicks.
Yeah, it's about the same thing, sure. Because these fat chicks will be that young, will die young too. So there you go.
And also in the song, you really didn't have to go.
But that's what the song was about. Like I just saw the clip there. I don't really know the song, but I'm gonna take it that's what the song is about him liking fat women. So that it's bad to like fat women, but you can't hate fat women.
Giant text, she's 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see she's fat. It's fine.
Cute outfits and fat rhetoric, part 2. The diet industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry that profits from your failure.
Not true. Not true. Not from your failure, from your inattention. See, and that's the problem. And we were talking about this before. That's part of the problem with this. It's not a diet. I didn't go on a diet. I went on a million diets. Like, look, I can sympathize with this woman right here because I'll tell you right now. And the reason she said that was because she's probably been on every diet in the world and they don't work, right? And part of that is true. I'm not on a diet. I'm on an eating plan. Like I changed the way I eat. This isn't a diet because a diet gives this impression that it's going to end at some point. that this is a diet. I'm going to go on a diet, right? You go on a grapefruit diet, right? How the long can you eat grapefruit? Sorry, we'll bleep that. How long can you eat grapefruits for, right? This isn't, I'm not on a diet. People ask me, well, what do you eat? I said, it's not about what I eat. It's about what I don't eat, right? Again, bright line eating. The woman that wrote that, Susan Pierce Thompson, God bless her, because she changed my life. And what she convinced me of, and I believe it, is that I'm an addict. I'm addicted to sugar and flour. I'm addicted to it. I don't eat it, right? Because when I eat sugar and flour, I don't stop. It just keeps going. And once I start, I get the taste of it. I can't stop. And so it's not a diet. It's a way of life. And again, we've talked about this. I had a good friend. Well, you're never going to eat pasta again? You love pasta. I'm like, dude, I loved heroin too, and I don't use it anymore because of what it does to me. It's not that I don't like it. I love it. In fact, I love it a little too much, and it doesn't work. So yeah, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that you don't have to participate in because it's not a diet that's going to do anything for you. It's a change of life. And if you're not willing to change that life, and again, we talk about like, why is this so hard to understand? Well, because she's probably been eating this way her whole life. Her parents are probably fat. Her mother probably pacified her with food as a little child. It's all she's ever known. And therefore, it's got to be okay. Mommy gave it to me, and I love mommy, and she loves me. Why would your mother do that to you, right? Because why would a fat parent feed their child that same that made them feel so bad about themselves, right? It can't be bad. It's not the food, right? It can't be the food. It has to be okay to be fat, because if it isn't, then all of this stuff is wrong. And I'm telling you it is. That your parents pacifying you with food, when you sit there as a fat person talking about how you were picked on in school and you felt horrible and you didn't look as nice as those skinny little Barbie girls and all that other bullshit. Yet you sit there feeding your kid Doritos and Twinkies and McDonald's and all this other crap. What are you doing to that kid? You're putting your child through the same you went through. And that's why we need fat acceptance, because you can't call me a bad parent, because by saying that I'm doing, you're calling me a bad parent. And I'm not a bad parent. Don't call me bad. So we have to justify it and say it's okay. But to me, this is no different than an alcoholic sitting here going, it's okay that I drink. It's okay. Alcohol is fine. I can sit here and get drunk and drink all freaking day and it's fine. Acceptance, health at any intoxication level. Like, it's ridiculous. That's insanity, right?
Eventually, you're going to get pulled over.
Right, exactly. Eventually, you have to fess up, because eventually you come to a point with alcohol poisoning, you're going to die, right? Heroin overdose, right? And that's what we're experiencing here. Now, this woman can talk all this crap that she wants, but eventually this is going to be a problem. And you can. It's easier to solve, by the way, when you're young. Now, I started doing this at 58 years old to show that it can be done, right? Because I really didn't believe it. I believed all that crap. Oh, after 50, your metabolism changes. There's nothing you can do. And again, I started leaning into it. We talked about that, right? Lean into it, man. And that's what this is too. I'm going to lean into it. These diets aren't working for me, so I'm going to lean into this shit. Yeah, I'm gonna make it so that everybody has to accept me. I don't accept you. You're fat. You are unhealthy. And I know that I pushed all that, but every time I passed the mirror, I know how I felt. And I could talk all that crap I want about fat acceptance and body positivity and all that other bullshit. But I know that when I passed the mirror and I looked at myself, I would say, what in God's name is happening to you? You have to stop this. You're going to die, right? I could tell you, oh, my heart was healthy. Yeah, because of the medication I was taking. I'm off of all my medication. I'm not pre-diabetic. I don't have any more hypertension medications that I have to take. Excuse me. And why? Because I eat healthy today. I do healthy things. I exercise, right? Which has dropped off after the 75 hard. I'll admit it's not what it was, but I'm still doing it. I mean, we were away. Walter and I, we went with my friend Jose as well. We all went out to California. We were out there last week, and I still did 15,000 steps a day at a minimum. I mean, I was walking, man. And these guys were walking too. It was good. We had a good time.
Just not before 8 a.m.
No, not before 8. I was, but and they're on vacation too. So anyway.
That dope diet sounds crazy.
So here, and here it is. And this woman wants us to accept this, and she's dressed in this cow costume, which
She's
is
a
just
kindergarten teacher.
it's
She's
so
got that
apropos. Oh, is that
kindergarten.
right?
I don't know. She's got that
She
kindergarten
does
teacher
have that
vibes.
kind of feel, that vibe, right?
All right, kids.
Fat is a neutral word. Weight loss is not small talk.
The poor dog.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered that your mom isn't right?
Have you considered that your mom isn't right? By feeding you all that crap and telling you that it's okay to be fat. Oh, honey, they're just jealous. No, they're not. They're not.
Calories are also not small talk. It's okay if your tummy shows because your tummy is cute. Also, add your diet to the list of things that are not small talk. Did you need a diet or did you need a therapist?
Perhaps you need both. Perhaps you need a therapist to tell you that you need a diet. Again, this is something that I look at this woman, and God bless her. I want everybody to feel good about themselves. That's part of what we're doing. What is cracking up?
I'm holding back. I'm trying not to transition this to a trash TV.
Yeah, that's the other channel. It could easily go over
It's
there.
a thin line.
But we're trying here. We're really trying. I'm trying, Ringo. I'm trying real hard.
Perfect. I'll give it to her. She knows how to pick outfits that compliment her.
Well, it depends on the compliment you're looking for. See, and there we go. Cow. Anyway, and again, I don't want to pick on it, but this whole idea that you're
pick on her.
and but she is an attractive woman. She's not unattractive.
Well, we said
She's
before
just-
the common denominator is they're delusional.
Right. We'll bleep that too.
Yeah. It's just like
Walter does the bleeps anyway, so he knows.
They got the crazy eyes.
Yeah.
They got the crazy vibes. It's
Yeah.
just like
I'm nuts. Welcome to my video.
this is my way, my world, my reality.
Right.
If you don't like it,
And that's it. It's Amityville Horror, right? The house is talking to you, literally. That's another cheap shot. Yeah, the house is talking. That just kicked in for Walter. He's like,
it was like a wave.
Anyway, you see, I digress because I don't want to pick on this woman, but people like this, they open themselves up to it. Again,
Exactly.
Talk to me when you're 45. Talk to me when you're 45 and you're that size and your kids are fat and your kids are sitting there crying going, Mommy, they hate me. Mommy, they pick on me. Mommy, they call me fat. Mommy, nobody wants to date me. Nobody wants to be there. And then your children are transitioning from boy to girl because they're not comfortable. And instead of losing the weight, they convince themselves they're the wrong sex or some shit like that. It's insanity. Here we go.
So everybody has cellulite, right?
To a degree, I suppose. But no.
You don't have to justify being hungry. Gaining and losing weight is completely morally neutral and a thing that's bad.
I feel for this woman at the same time because she's really sitting here trying to convince herself of this stuff. It is morally ambiguous. Weight is morally ambiguous. Of course it is. But that doesn't, so is drugs. As long as you're not robbing people to get your drugs or you're not doing things illegally to get you almost have to, right? I mean, because kind of heroin's illegal. Unless you're in Oslo, I think they're allowed to shoot dope in Oslo. And maybe, what is it, in British Columbia, I think they have shooting galleries up there to keep people from dying or some enabling people. Anyway, but this, again, talk to me when you're 45. Talk to me when your kids are crying to you. Talking about how bad they feel about themselves, and you tell them, "Oh, it's body positivity, honey. You're healthy at any size." No, you're not.
It's bound to happen to you over the course of your life. My fat body has not affected people's ability to love me.
No, that's true. I agree with that. But if they love you, they'll tell you that you're killing yourself. You are killing yourself with food. You are absolutely killing yourself. And I tell you that just the same as I would tell you that if you were drinking yourself to death. There was a Nicolas Cage, what was it? A Weekend in Las Vegas or something like that where he
Leaving Las Vegas?
Yeah. And he's killing himself. He's purposely trying to kill himself with alcohol.
Great movie.
This is his way of, right, it was. It's been a while. That's why I don't really remember the name. Put it here. Anyway, but it's the same thing. And I would say the same thing to you. Like, you have to stop this behavior. You're killing yourself. And this is a slow, painful death. One of the reasons that I wanted to get healthy was it wasn't just not about looks and stuff like that. It's about being healthy. I'm not afraid of dying. Dying is something that we're all going to do, right? I lost my kids years ago, and look, it's my own personal beliefs, right? So I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of living hard. I'm afraid of being in a wheelchair. I'm afraid of not being able to walk because I'm too fat. I'm afraid of strokes and heart attacks and things like this that fat brings. And fat brings those things. And yes, people who are not fat also get those things. But the incidence of getting them when you're fat and older is much higher, right? You are increasing your incidence. Not everybody who smokes is going to die of cancer, but people who do smoke are more prone to it. All right, that's just the fact, right? If I smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, I'm probably going to get sick. Yeah, and so to have these delusions that this is okay is just insanity. And if people really did love you, you say it doesn't preclude people from. It doesn't. I have friends. One of my best friends is highly overweight. Much like I was, and I love the guy. But that's the reason I tell him, look, man, you can do something about this. It's why I encourage him to lose the weight, is because I care about him. I'm not judging the person for doing it. That's beyond me. Like, we all have our right? The reason I mention it is because I do care, and I don't want you to live a hard life. I don't want you to die young. I don't want you to suffer. And this is suffering. It may not be today, right? 25, 30, 35 even. Wait until you're in your 40s. And all of these people who do this crap all seem to be under 40 years old. You don't see a lot of people over 40 talking about, I'm healthy at any size. Notice this in all of these videos, that they don't do that. Must be somewhere here, right? What is she looking? Looking for plus size bra range. Yeah. Right. People need to cater to me. And that's another thing we do now, right? Is we have to cater to people for their disease. And it is a disease. Addiction is a disease. I believe it's a mental illness. I suffer from it. So I'm not talking out of turn here. I suffer from addiction without a doubt. And I got a lot of mental illness. Might deserve better than this. I don't know.